All right, what's up, guys? Broke Bets here with you, Lane with you, and got my guy with me, Carson, as always.
Yo, what's up?
Getting this video in one take, guys. We're just gonna do one take. Running out of time here, so stay around at the end if you want to talk. Hear us talk about the awful bets of the last card. But to get us started, JJ Aldrich versus Veronica Hardy. Give us Veronica Hardy by decision. I like her movement better on the feet. JJ Aldrich has been subpar just throughout her time in the UFC and just as an MMA fighter. She's done a little bit of wrestling in the back pocket. Still not even great at it. I feel like Hardy's got better footwork, can deal more damage, and yeah, take Hardy by decision.
Yeah, I think Hardy's a little quicker on the feet too, and she's got Dan Hardy in her corner too. He's a good MMA mind, and I think they'll have a good game plan here. So Hardy with better movement, faster striking, stop the takedown attempts, and just win on damage here by decision.
Yeah, she's a little small, it seems like, for 125 because she's thick, but I think she still pulls it off. We'll see. I mean, these chick fights are always so 50-50. Also, the more dangerous jiu-jitsu girl as well, so. Moving on. Jared Gooden versus Kevin Jousset. It's easy money on Kevin Jousset here, boys. I'm doing a round 2 knockout. Jared Gooden's been just so subpar. I mean, he was getting his ass beat by Wellington Turman up till like a punch that led up to Turman. And Turman's just been horrible in his career as well. So was nothing crazy there. He caught him. Then I think something happened to the ground and submission happened. But Gooden just overall, man, every fight I've seen him in, he's just unimpressive. He doesn't roll punches well. He's got a weird shoulder build, which makes his chin like sit up high in the air and get hit. And Jousset's just got a great jab. I'm just shocked we're getting him at the odds we're getting him. So easy money in my eyes.
Yeah, just that city kickboxing style where he'll just throw out the jab and leg kicks, and it wins a ton of minutes, and it's hard to deal with. He uses his range really well. Yeah, I think he pieces Jerry Gooden up here, and unlike against Song, I think he'll be able to find a KO here.
Right, I think it's just a matter of Gooden not being able to roll anything, and he can probably smell blood in the water here as well.
Yeah, Thurman had him on wobbly legs multiple times.
Right.
So I think Jousset will be able to pull it off here.
All right. Jousset KO round 2. Next fight, Jake Hadley versus Charles Johnson. This is one of those fights that it feels, a little bit questionable because I feel like every fight that Charles Johnson is in is a little bit strange. So we're going to go with Jake Hadley, but Johnson is always in these fights where people are trying to take him down and they get a little bit tired, and then he can either mount a comeback in round 3 or, swing rounds. And he never looks too great in round 1. So it's always a little hard to get a prediction on a fight like that if he's not getting put away. He got hurt so bad versus Maxim, but stayed in the fight. Maxim expended too much energy, and then he just won the second 2 rounds. And I thought that one could have been a tie, too, because Maxim beat the fuck out of him in round 1. And the second 2 rounds were Johnson's. But Hadley, I feel like he's just really active with his boxing. He's got an active ground game if it ever does go there. So I think there might be an advantage in 2 different categories there for Hadley. So I'm going to take him by decision.
Yeah, tough fight to call. I think Hadley wins early, and then Johnson wins late. Johnson usually, like you said, loses that first round, so I think it'll come down to if there's no finish, comes down to that second round, and I think Hadley will be doing a little more in that round and win it on the scorecards. Both these guys have never been finished before, so I do tend to believe that it goes the distance here.
Right. Johnson's just been incredibly active here in the UFC. Faced a lot of different flyweights, a couple different styles there. Interesting fight. Again, I think Hadley likes to be sharp with the boxing. He hasn't gotten hit a ton of in his career, so he's not super used to that, but I think he still stays ahead in a fight like this. Moving on. Trey Waters versus Billy Goff. Now, this one's interesting as well. You got Trey Waters, who's a fucking giant, versus Billy Goff, who debatably is a guy, if he, dumps some weight maybe in the midsection, not that he's fat, but he's got one of those, Alexander Hernandez bodies where they're really short, dense torsos. He could be a lightweight, and I feel like Waters should be a middleweight, and I feel like this range is going to be really hard for Billy Goff to break down to do his fight style, because his fight style is running through punches in order to deliver his own. And Waters is just so long on the outside, it's going to be really hard for him to break down that distance. I'm going to take Trey Waters by knockout.
Yeah, Trey Waters is listed at 6'5" here, and Billy Goff is 5'10", so that's a very big height difference, and I think Waters will be able to utilize that reach and height to his advantage a ton here. Yeah, like you said, Billy Goff likes to run in, eat some punches, and work some of his stuff, but I don't think he'll be able to get on the inside of Waters because he's just so long. He's tough to deal with. Josh Quinlan couldn't get anything going against him, and I expect the same here from.
And when you think about it, like when there's guys that are this tall, it's more like instead of like a 5-inch reach advantage or whatever it states, it's actually more like a 10-inch reach advantage because Trey Waters is punching down at his target versus Billy Goff is punching up. So you got to add in that extra, the hypotenuse. Use the Pythagorean theorem, guys. And it adds a little bit more distance to have to cover for Billy Goff to actually get his punches to land. It'll be interesting, though, if Billy Goff can tough it out and get on the inside and then make rounds 2 and 3 really dirty. There's a chance that he could have a comeback knockout. So that'll be interesting. I like an under in this fight. I think they go at each other. So, okay. Next, we have Carson's wife, Tabatha Ricci, versus Tecia Torres, who's Raquel Pennington's wife. So,
hey.
Tabatha Ricci, we're going to go with her. I'm just going to stick with the younger fighter in this scenario. Tecia Torres just delivered a baby within, I think, the last year. So she's, I looked at her Instagram to see how she's leaned up. It looks like she's leaned up. She's in very good shape. But it's an interesting fight. I feel like Tecia Torres did beat Mackenzie Dern in that fight that they had. Mm-hmm. I thought there was bad scoring in that matchup. And I just feel like Ricci might show a little bit more aggression. She's high in volume. She doesn't land many strikes, to be honest. Her hands aren't terribly coordinated. But if it comes down to scoring, I think she might just put out there to be scored in this scenario. So I'm going to take Ricci by decision.
Yeah, same height, same reach for both these chicks. Tecia Torres has been out for 2 years now, 2-year layoff. Like you said, had a baby. Don't know how she'll come back. Ricci throws a lot of volume. Doesn't connect on all of it, but she throws it out there, does some hi-yas, and is just overall more active. And I think that's where she'll take it on the judges' scorecards. I don't really see a finish here.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Ticia's only lost to the top girls in the division, and I'm not even sure if she's been finished in...
Yeah, never been finished before, Tecia Torres.
Right.
And Ricci was only finished against Firo.
I think that over 2.5 is like almost minus 500 or something crazy.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Makes sense, because it's probably not going to happen, so... Yeah, we'll stick with Carson's wife.
Yeah, I assume Ricci will have more fans in the audience as well, too. I thought her last fight against Lupi clearly won, and it was still a split decision. So.
Yeah, exactly. And they can never truly tell who's landing if there's ever a crowd involved in fights.
Right.
In some of these women's fights, if they're doing the hiyas, like at least in the apex, they can hear the thud noise if there is a punch, but a lot of times you can't even tell. So, moving on. Terrance McKinney versus Esteban Ribovics. I'm going with Terrance McKinney. Esteban's getting taken down a little bit too easily, and everyone's seen that. Radzhabov got him down, I think, 10 times, some crazy number. Camilla Kirk got him down a couple times and got the back control pretty easily. I'm taking McKinney by submission in the first round. McKinney has a back take, guys. I mean, watch the Faraz Ziam fight. He hadn't had to use it in the some of the previous ones because he just came out swinging like he does. But he can get back control on guys and get a quick submission in a lot of these matchups. Obviously, if it gets past that point, he's fucked, and we all know that. So, I like Esteban a lot. I like his style on the feet, but I think it's going to be a tough first round for him. So,
yeah, if Esteban can survive that first round, then I would assume he'll probably have the advantage there. But McKinney's just so dangerous in that first round. You saw Ribovics get taken down by Camilla Kirk in that first round and was held down for pretty much that entire round. I think McKinney's just super explosive in that first round. We'll be able to take him down and submit him here.
I don't think McKinney will ever be a guy that changes. I don't think he'll ever have a fight that goes the distance. I just don't know if it's possible. You just look at how off balance he can be on the feet. He's already like bow-legged, and then like if you watch a minute into that Drew Dober fight where he just like gassed out, he like is completely off balance with everything he throws, and it's like if you're doing that a minute into a fight, you're never gonna last in a 15-minute fight. So,
and a crowd here, so they'll be pumping him up, and he'll probably be going balls to the wall like he normally is.
Is he a Saint? No, he's a Dallas guy. Well, they'll cheer for him. So,
yeah.
Anyway, interesting matchup. Moving on. Chase Pooper, a.k.a. Chase Hooper, versus Viacheslav Borshchev. This is just pure grappler versus pure striker matchup. I'm going to say Borshchev catches Hooper. We saw Steve Garcia just run right through Chase Hooper just by sitting down on some punches. And I feel like Chase Hooper's been really good recently at just pressuring people so hard until they wilt, and I think Borshchev will just sit down on a punch and really clock him. And in terms of wrestling, I think Borshchev's slightly, improved in that grappling, and Chase Hooper's not really shooting double legs as much as he is getting people to have to shoot on him because they're tired, and a lot of scenarios like that. So give me Borshchev by knockout in the first round.
Yeah, very interesting matchup. You think if Hooper is able to take down Borshchev, he probably wins. But I think it'll be hard. I think Borshchev's improved quite a bit there. His scrambles looked decent against Sadikov in his last one. His striking's just going to be so much better than Hooper's here. So gotta stick with Borshchev here.
Right, and it feels like if it's on the feet for any amount of time, it's going to be a scary situation for Hooper. Like, if Borshchev gets to round 2, it'll just be like, oh, fuck, well, there's another chance this happens here. And
right.
I don't know. Obviously, no bet on a money line for this fight, maybe an under, but I still don't even know. Might just watch for entertainment. Anyway.
Yeah.
Borshchev, Slavaklaus, KO, round 1. Waldo the Joke Cortes-Acosta versus Robelis Despaigne. Give us Despaigne. Acosta just made a joke of himself, man, in that Andrei Arlovsky fight. Just not doing damage, showboating when he's not really winning. And he does have some good fundamentals like a jab, but even his right hand is just like a baseball pitch because he used to be a pitcher, so doesn't look great. The Spain Taekwondo, while it's not a very great martial art that transitions to the UFC, it still is going to be better than what most heavyweights have at all in the striking department. So I think we find a knockout here for Despaigne. I mean, this guy's finishing fights within 15 seconds. I think sometime in that first round, Despaigne gets that knockout.
Yeah, I think we'll have to have someone with power or someone with grappling ability to beat Despaigne. because Despaigne does leave his chin up there when he's throwing strikes. I think that's just from his habit from Taekwondo. But Waldo has neither one of the grappling or power, so I think it's another victory for Despaigne. He'll probably starch Waldo Acosta early in that first round like he has been everybody else. So hopefully it makes a highlight reel KO here.
Hopefully they come to fight, because if Despaigne just like sat back a little bit in this fight, I'd be upset. I just kind of want it to end fast in some goofy fashion. So
yeah, Despaigne's huge. He's got a huge reach, 87 inches. He's 6'7".
Right,
he's massive. So.
Right. All right, Despaigne KO round 1. Next fight, Alex Caceres versus Sean Woodson. What do you think of this one? Who are you gonna take here?
Yeah, I like Sean Woodson here. I don't always trust him just based from that Luis Saldana fight where he got KO'd 3 times or so in that fight, and he just looked so off in that one. But his last 2 fights, he's looked super good, throwing that jab out. He's super long, lengthy. He's from St. Louis as well. They'll be cheering for him there. Yeah, I think he'll just outvolume Alex Caceres here.
The hard thing for me is Alex Caceres is kind of known as one of the lengthy featherweights and has been for a while, and he's faced honestly a lot of the featherweights in the division. But Sean Woodson, like you said with that Saldana fight, he's coming in here against someone who maybe will match his size a little bit. I see Caceres is listed at 5'10", but he definitely appears taller than that when fighting. And we've known that these heights get listed wrong.
Maybe it's that hair.
Yeah, that hair does probably make him look taller. But he's also got that karate style, stands very sideways. And, I think Woodson just mixes in the hands better. I mean, Caceres doesn't really use his hands that well. Woodson shouldn't have been a split decision over Jordan. He won pretty clearly. And he's always just weird that he's got like that alien head to him. I wonder what a guy like him eats, because he used to be fat, and like
right. I thought he was like a heavyweight, or at least a light heavyweight back in the day.
He's like a Brian Battles like younger brother that smoked meth. That's what he looks like. But
yeah, he used to be a Golden Gloves champion boxer too, and yeah, he's got really good boxing. So
he's got like
where that comes from.
He's like one of those bony kids. You know when you like play sports when you're a kid, and there's like one of those kids who has like bony limbs, and if they like touch you with your elbow or their knee, they like kill you. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but in soccer, at least when I played soccer, there's some kids like that, and they put an elbow into your back, and it's like a knife stabbing you because they're so goddamn bony. And that's like Sean Woodson's knees. He uses his knees well in the clinch. I don't know. This is an interesting matchup. I can't really bet on Sean Woodson in fights, to be honest. He's kind of hard to nail down exactly. So,
yeah, seems to have decent takedown defense and get up game too. So, should be hard for Caceres to take him down.
Radio. Next, we have Diego Ferreira versus Mateusz Rebecki. We are going with Rebecki. Polish Bauer. Diego Ferreira, I mean, he caught Michael Johnson, but Michael Johnson's also Michael Johnson. He's always known for the ups and downs in the sport. His chin has never been phenomenal. It's been touched before. He's a little bit old. I feel like Rebecki brings a whole nother pressure to his game. Forward pressure, stalking with some good wrestling in his back pocket. And Diego's like folded prior to people like Gamrot, who put him under pressure. Struggled with Lepsy, who put him under pressure. And he's got good jiu-jitsu, but he gets kind of broken down by these people over the course of a fight. And Rebecki's just constantly under pressure, and if you cover up, he can punch you out. He'll has good leg kicks on the feet, strong left hand. He's got a lot of things going for him, so go with a knockout for Rebecki for round 2.
Yeah, he's a meatball out there. He's got tons of power, super muscular, loves that leg kick. His leg kick's really good. I see him taking advantage of that here in this matchup. yeah, Ferreira KO'd Michael Johnson in his last one, but he was also getting pieced up early on. Yeah, I like Rebecki here. Probably by finish, I would say. Ferreira's been KO'd 3 times. Rebecki's super powerful.
Right. And it just feels like Diego, as good as his jiu-jitsu is, it's going to be defensive for the whole first round. And then the second round to be like, well, it's either got to stay defensive, right? You got to get up. And I don't think he's going to really get to that point. So Rebecki will make him fold under pressure.
Yeah, Rebecki is super well-rounded as well.
Next, Alonzo Menifield versus Carlos Ulberg. Done with Ulberg. Cleaner striker. Menifield, although he looks super improved and he's been on a fucking roll. He's also he's a strange fighter. Like he gets kind of tired, but he stays in fights. But Jimmy Crute was giving him layups in their fight, where Jimmy Crute's chin was just straight up in the air. Dustin Jacoby, he rocked multiple times. I just feel like Ulberg's so clean, though, with that left hand as a jab and a hook, that we saw OSP do a step-back left hook knockout, it was actually right hook, because OSP's a southpaw, but lead hook knockout on Menifield, and I feel like Menifield, when he closes that distance, he's just going to get punished by Ulberg, so give me Ulberg by a first-round knockout.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. Ulberg should be the cleaner striker, technical striker. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't overly thrilled with his last performance, slowing down against Ao Young. And Menifield's been on the rise here. He's looked really good in his last 2. Hurt Dustin Jacoby a ton in that matchup. Who is a kickboxer as well. So, yeah, interesting matchup. But I got to go with the more technical striker. I think Ulberg's just got to not go for it a ton and just touch him, and then he'll KO him.
That was kind of the weird thing about the Daun Young fight, was he didn't even have a lot of output when he was exhausted. So right. Super concerning. And maybe it's just his kryptonite is that he has that like touch of death and then he slows down because of it. But I'd be curious if Menifield would try to push a pace in a fight like this, because it doesn't absolutely benefit him either, because he's going to put himself in danger. So, yeah, if they stay at range, it should be Ulberg's fight. But at these light heavyweights, when they got power, who knows sometimes, you know?
Yeah, and he's got Pat Barry in his corner. Ayo.
Oh, God. Get some charges there. Anyway, moving on, we got Joaquin Buckley versus Nursultan Ruziboyev. Who do you like in this one? This is a tough call again.
Yeah. Similar to some of the other fights, I think if Ruziboyev wins, it's got to be in that first round. But if Buckley's able to get out of that first round, I like him quite a bit here. We just don't know Ruziboyev's gas tank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. His last 11 fights have all been first-round finishes. We don't know really what he's like after that first round. So
right.
I think Buckley's durable enough to last, especially at this weight class here.
I think this would have been kind of a smart main event pick, actually. Like, I know Buckley suggested it at UFC 300, but I think it actually kind of would put some good hype behind the name of Ruziboyev if he won, or blow up Buckley maybe a little bit more. And Buckley's just... I had a thing against Buckley, you know. I liked Impa Kasanganay before that, you know, viral knockout. And when that knockout happened, I was like, shit, well, Buckley's all right. And then Buckley went on a series of Jiricho head kicking him, and your opinion gets swayed on what you think of him, but he is very active as a fighter, putting on pretty consistent performances.
Yeah.
But something really weird about this matchup to me is we go back and look at the Ruziboyev-Dumas fight, and Ruziboyev stands so far at a range, and he just does these quick darts in and stabs people with one big punch at a time, which could easily knock out Buckley at any moment. But then Buckley adds up a lot of points with 2 or 3 punches in a row and ending with a kick. So, like you said, if Ribovics starts to slow down and he gets that pressure on him, and he doesn't have any answers on the feet, we've seen Buckley survive a lot of ground situations too. So, it's an interesting fight. Yeah. I like Buckley by a knockout. So
yeah, Buckley has looked really good here at 170, and Ribovics is coming down to 170 here on short notice too.
Yeah,
I know it's short notice for both of them, but Ribovics was just fighting at 185, and now he's got to cut all the way down to 170.
Yeah, it's crazy for him. I mean, him and Trey Waters are both 6'5".
Right. Yeah, it'll be interested to see him on the scale, but yeah, I think over the top, Buckley can land some big shots and hurt Buckley or hurt Ribovics as the fight goes on and find a later round KO.
It's just really confusing because Ribovics looks so thin and low body fat at what the weight he's already at, so you're gonna be drained coming down to this weight. Something I see very similarly too is these tall, skinny dudes that come down in weight to whatever, and they're really jacked. They're just slower because their muscles are just kind of drained away because their body's eating itself. So, yeah, if Buckley survives round 1, it's probably his fight.
Yeah, maybe Ribovics' chin won't be as good, cutting all that weight too. So.
Haven't really seen him get hit yet.
Yeah, something to keep in mind there.
He got hit once by Dumas, but doesn't really even count if you get hit by Dumas. Anyway, to the main event, guys. Please drop that like, subscribe, all that bullshit. We got Derrick Lewis, the Black Beast, versus Rodrigo Nascimento. I'm taking Derrick Lewis. I'm so against these 5-round Derrick Lewis fights. You fucking fell for it versus Jailton Almeida. You guys put on the most fucking retarded fight in, last year. That was 2023.
Yep.
And then they come in, they give Nascimento, who's the same. He's not the same style, but he wants the fight to get to the ground. You know what I mean? Or he wants to clinch on the fence. I want Derrick to get this knockout. I'm not confident whenever Derrick's in a fight, but if anybody's gonna knock somebody out, it's for sure gonna be Derrick. So, give me him by knockout.
You're telling me a dude who lost to Chris Daukaus is gonna beat Derrick Lewis?
I'm not.
Oh, yeah. I know you're not, but yeah, I gotta go with Derrick Lewis here. Come on now, he's gonna have the crowd on his side as well. Super powerful, and yeah, I think he's gonna land that KO blow like Chris Daukaus did.
I always just feel confused with Derrick Lewis's motivation because he's not motivated half the time, and half the time, then he comes out against De Lima and fucking flying knees him. It's all over the board with how he can perform. And even if Nascimento does take him down, look at the power punches that Lewis was still throwing in like round 5 versus Almeida. He had some uppercuts that were close to putting Almeida in the 3rd row.
Right. And we're in St. Louis here, so not Texas, where it's a guaranteed loss for Lewis.
Yeah, very true. And then on top of that, Nascimento as well. I think there were moments where Tanner Boser was piecing him up after some grappling stuff, and then Nascimento just laid on Boser that whole fight. I remember that being a very frustrating to watch one. So kind of your standard Derrick Lewis one, but I really don't have any more thoughts here. Again, I'm kind of against all these heavyweight main events because they just don't turn out quite too well.
Yeah. I'm with Buckley here. He should have been the main event.
Yeah, I know he's more polarizing, but I think it would have been better for the UFC. I don't think Nascimento is taking and getting any fans, even if he does win this fight. So
right,
you're going nowhere. To the bets, guys. So, yikes! -3.5 units on the card. Borjas, bad bet by me. Carson got the pick right. I got it wrong. It's just at flyweight especially, you can't just be a boxer, and Costa just did more. He had the grappling advantage in his back pocket if it was needed. He had heavier leg kicks and the heavier hands as well. So kind of hit him in all three categories, and then he gave him like that drop foot or whatever it looked like, and just took over.
Yeah, thought Costa would utilize the leg kicks and grappling if needed. And yeah, leg kick is what ultimately did it.
Yeah, it didn't seem like he was going to get back in the fight even after round one, after getting rocked. Slowing down a little bit already, it looked like. Two hard fights for Borjas, though.
Yeah.
Next, Elvis Brenner. He was so close to getting a tie, and us getting our money back, which isn't a great excuse for us to say, but, there's like 5-10 seconds in the fight. The third round was a little bit back and forth. Maybe I still felt like Orlovai probably would have won it, but in terms of how that round went compared to the other two, more debatable for Brenner. And then he gets dropped in the last 5 seconds and secures the round for Orlovai. And his legs were just gone after round one. I didn't think he fought horribly, but again, when your legs are gone in round one and then you get rocked so bad in round two, he just was on jello legs that fight. So hard to come back and win something like that.
Yeah. It just seemed like he was completely gassed and didn't have a ton in the tank. He was wobbly legs for most of that fight, it seemed like. And then, yeah, the last 10 seconds or whatever was standing there drunk and got dropped.
Right.
Could have been a draw if not. But, yeah.
Max Holloway kind of talked about this, but like more guys need to work on anti-wrestling per se versus like defensive grappling. So like Brenner was at times trying to wrestle back versus Orlovai, which just made him more tired. Whereas he should have been like fighting the hands on the fence and then pushing his head down more just to try to drain Orlovai and save more of his own energy. And he kind of zapped himself by trying to get into scrambles as well. So yeah. But, worth a shot on the dog still, I feel like. Coming down, Drakkar Klose and Silva under 2.5. I kid you not, 30 seconds after that under 2.5 mark, that's when that guillotine happened where Drakkar Klose did like a backflip or whatever. The weirdest timing, like 30 seconds after that. And then another minute after that, that's when Drakkar Klose gets dropped face first, and then he gets up and survives. But he just clinched the whole second round, and it didn't even make sense why he clinched the whole second round, because he had Silva pushed up against the cage, and was just touching him, and then he just went to the clinch, got himself exhausted, and then in round 3, Silva just didn't put the gas on close enough, and we got screwed by timing, I felt like. But I feel like if Klose just went blow for blow on the cage with him, he probably would have gotten a finish, but he kind of screwed himself over.
Yeah, it was just that the second round that stalled too much time there. If they fought the third round like they did, if they fought the second round like they did the third, then yeah, I feel like there could have been a finish there. And even that one strike that landed that Silva had in that second round wobbled Klose.
Right.
Too. So he like threw one strike and wobbled him.
And his fucking eyebrow was like blown up like a balloon, like super fast.
Right.
Tough loss. I still stand by that bet. That's a tough one. And I honestly stand by this next one. Anthony Smith, Vitor Petrino. Hard thing about Brazil is these guys, like, they all wanted the glory. All the Brazilians kind of wanted the glory wins. I mean, you go back to Bonfim, you go back to Caio. I mean, Caio didn't even really need to work that hard for it, but they wanted like the knockout in front of the home audience. And Vitor definitely fought at a higher pace, but just absolute stupidity. Just had that double leg. Anthony Smith showed he was going to pull the guillotine. They sat there for 5 seconds, then he lifted him up in the air and got himself choked out. Just incredibly stupid. Didn't even like try to fight to get his legs off to the side. And yeah, just completely ruined that one. Anthony Smith had been over in his past like 4 fights, and Petrino had been over in like 3 of his last 4. So hard loss on that one.
Yeah, I can't speak too much on what happened there because I fell asleep and didn't see it. But I think Petrino was like one of the only favorites to lose, and he was a huge favorite as well.
Yeah, the pay-per-view was kind of rough. I mean, anytime you have 3 fights in a row being Kyle Braulio, who's a minus 600 favorite, then you got Michel Pereira, who's a minus 700 favorite, and then you have Petrino, who's a minus 500, and obviously he got choked out. It's hard to get hyped up for a fight where these huge favorites on these pay-per-view is just kind of like a little bit of waste of your payment. So, and a little bit hard to sit through sometimes late at night. But next, Bonfim Pantoja. Like I said, Bonfim was kind of looking for that knockout blow, but he won with ease. Pantoja, close fight, but he has such a weird fighting style. Pantoja looks so bad at so many moments, but he fights through it. And it's not a very repeatable style. Like, he's taking a lot of damage in these fights. He doesn't seem to get hurt somehow. But he just kind of sprints at people on the feet. And that's where that elbow came in and hurt him. And then he can just work a little bit of his grappling to stay ahead in fights. And yeah, that 5th round all came down to Steve Erceg shooting that takedown. And he shot the takedown and he got reversed and fight over because Pantoja just laid on him. So hard loss for Erceg, but it's good to see that he's a good fighter and his cardio is insane. So
yeah, Bonfim, like you said, he was trying to go for the KO. His some of his hooks were super wide. Yeah, but good thing it wasn't his brother. Otherwise, he probably would have gassed out and lost.
yeah,
Pantoja. Yeah, like you said, he's 34 years old now. That was probably his last win as a champ before his 35, and
curse.
then that curse comes into play there. So, yeah, glad Pantoja won and secured that bet.
It's just I don't know. I feel like Erceg, as he's good on the feet, he's good on the ground, he's good everywhere, but like everyone's piecing up. It feels like Pantoja on the feet. And I mean, Royval just didn't have the power in his hands to really do anything, but he's so hittable. It's just that scare of the grappling. You just don't want Pantoja on your back, and that's what everyone's scared of. Winning the minutes, it's not the funnest style in terms of, a wild champion that wants to stand and bang on the feet, but he wins fights. Other things to note: Joe Anderson Brito kicking the shit out of Jack Shore was pretty wild.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that they stopped that fight.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't bleeding from what I could tell terribly. It was a big cut, but
yeah, it was a big cut. He seemed to be walking fine on it too. So
I kind of wanted to see what would happen too if he kicked that swelling. Would like a bunch of blood just shoot out the cut? I don't know. Brito is just a fucking bad motherfucker, man. He was, even though Shore was checking him, he was just like, fuck you. But
and then Rufy,
that dude, I mean, I can't tell if it's just because of Jamie Malarkey or what, but he looked so big at 155 because Malarkey's a big 155, and his arms, like, he looked like his reach was like Despaigne reach, but fast.
Yeah, he uses that kickboxing style well, or karate.
Curious what his next fight will be.
Yeah. I think they can do some good stuff with him.
All right. Any more thoughts?
Super powerful. And I'm glad Mike Beltran was the ref in that one to make Malarkey eat 5 more shots.
Malarkey does fall really funny when he does get knocked out. Those eyebrows. It's something with having no eyebrows.
Right.
Yeah. Any more thoughts here?
Nah.
All right, guys. That's it for this video. As always, peace.
Peace.